Hello everyone, I'm Daisy. I am the artist behind the Lacemakers Project, and today I'm just going to teach you an online tutorial about how to make one of these little paper and tinfoil rod marionettes. They're very simple and you can make them from materials that are easily found around the house. They're very cheap to make. And I made loads of these little paper and foil puppets for my lace making puppet project because they're so quick to make. I had to make loads and loads of characters in a very short amount of time, so I could get kind of start making up little scenes with them and thinking of different characters, so I had to do it quite quickly. Eventually I'd love to make them out of wood, the rod marionettes, but obviously that takes a long time, so I decided to just make them out of these quick and cheap materials for now. So I thought I'd show you how to make them. So, as you can see, this is a little character. He is the lace merchant character, and he's quite a kind of suave, charming. He's not quite sinister, but he's not particularly nice either. He's quite greedy. He's quite money oriented. Sorry. And he is the person that trades in lace. So he doesn't make the lace himself, that's the job of the lace makers, but he tends to make most of the money from the lace makers. So this is him, and he's got a tinfoil, his head is just sculpted from tinfoil, and then it's covered in paper mache, and his body is also made out of a mixture of tinfoil and just some paper. And then that's paper mache as well. And then he's got some thread attached to his arms so that his hands can move and he can wave to you. Hello, hello. And then he's also got a skewer, as you can see, going through his head. If I bring it a bit closer, it's going straight through his head down into his torso. I'm not sure if you can see that. And the skewer is stuck firmly to the head, but the end of the skewer is going into the body, and that's actually not stuck in, so that it can still swivel round without moving the body. And then we've just got an extra bit of string here running from the head into the body that allows for some movement of the skewer, but also makes sure that the head remains attached to the body. So they're the main components. And then he's just painted in, he's actually painted in gouache paint, but acrylic is probably that's what I normally use, and for the other puppets that I've made, I've painted them in acrylic. So yeah, that's the introduction to him, and yeah, it was also he's got some little pins for eyes as well. Again, if you can see that, yeah, he's got these little black pins. They're just kind of normal dressmaking pins, I think, but they've got like black ends. But alternatively, you could use beads for his eyes, or paint them on as well. So yeah, let's get making. So as I said, the materials can be easily sourced from around the house or your local shop or supermarket, I mean. So I'll just tell you what we're going to need. So for this tutorial, we're going to need, firstly, some ordinary kitchen tinfoil. There we are. We're going to need some newspaper for the paper mache. We're going to need some sort of other paper, preferably, I like to use for this is actually parcel paper, like brown parcel paper, and that I prefer because it's a little bit thicker than newspaper. This is to make the kind of costume with. But if you don't have any of that and you can't source it, then you can just use newspaper. That'll be absolutely fine. You might just have to use a couple more sheets that's a bit thicker, but I'll explain more obviously during the tutorial. We also need some masking tape. Now I've got this brown parcel masking tape, but it's pretty much the same as just normal white masking tape. You can use either. I've just got this because I've got more of it. So also we've got some wooden skewers. I'd say a couple of those, 2 of those. Just a normal pencil for various things. Some scissors, kind of usual crafty stuff. then some paintbrushes for painting it, and one like old paintbrush that you can use for mixing glue. You don't mind if it gets a bit dried up. And some dressmaking pins with either a black head, like a round sort of black head on top. That's what I really like to use for eyes. But if you can't get them, that's fine. You don't have to worry. You can use either little beads, or you could just paint the eyes on. Or if you happen to have pins with white sort of pearl heads on, you can use those too. And so I sometimes use those and just paint them with black nail polish. But yeah, it can be a bit flexible with that. Some thread, just ordinary thread for the hand control. And then I've got some PVA glue just in a plastic tub. And then you just want to water that down very slightly with a little bit of water, just so it's a bit easier to spread on when you paper mache. But more about that later. And then just an extra plastic container for extra glue, which again I'll go into later. And then finally some paint. I've got acrylic paint here, which I'm going to use for this demonstration. But if you've got gouache paint, for instance, you can use that. If you don't have either, but you've got some poster paint, that's fine too. You can be very flexible with this because we're just painting paper. So, and we also need some string. And I've got some here. It's about 30 to 40 centimetres long. That should be enough. I'm just going to cut in here and say you also need 2 pennies. And something else that's going to be useful is a plastic palette. I'm just using a old lid for a tub of food that I had. And also a glass jar or some sort of pot to put water in. You can use either a plastic pot, a recycled glass jar, anything that will hold water for when you're painting. Something else that also might be useful is just cardboard from like cardboard packages. That could be useful for decorating your puppet later on.